Hi everyone, welcome back to Nur Aini. First of all, I would like to say how are you doing today, and I hope you are always in a safety and staying healthy. Today I'm going to deliver about the principles in ELT curriculum development. So there are 20 principles in this part, but it consists of 3 parts. The first part is content and sequencing. The second part, format and presentation, and the third part is monitoring and assessment. So let's talk about the aims. The aim of this part of the curriculum design process is to decide how learning can be encouraged. Pedagogical perspective, to show sensible basis to guide teaching and also to help in the design of course. The first part of this session is talking about the principles related to content and sequencing. So we have frequency, strategies and autonomy, space retrieve, language system, keep moving forward, teachability, learning burden, and also interference. Well, now have a look at this. The first one is frequency. A language course should provide the best possible coverage of the language in use through the inclusion of the items that occur frequently in the language, so that learners get the best return for their learning effort. The second one, strategies and autonomy, is a language course should train learners in how to learn a language and how to monitor and be aware of their learning so that they can become effective and independent language learners. The third, space retrieval. Learners should have increasingly repeated opportunities to retrieve and give attention to wanted items in a variety of contexts. The fourth, language system. The language focus of a course needs to be on the generalizable features of the language. Number 5, keep moving forward. A language course should progressively cover useful language items, skills, and strategies. 6. Teachability. So, the teaching of a language item should take account of the most favorable sequencing of these items and should take account of when the learner are most ready to learn them. 7. Learning burden. So the course should help learners make the most effective use of previous knowledge. And number 8, interference. The items in a language course should be sequenced so that items which are learned together have a positive effect on each other for learning and so that interference effects are avoided. Frequency. A language course should provide the best possible coverage of a language in use through the inclusion of items that occur frequently in the language, so that learners get the best return for their learning effort. It covers 3 important parts. The first is a small number of high-frequency items will cover a large proportion of a text. The second, after the few most frequent items are known, a very large number of low-frequency items must be known to cover the remainder of a text. The third, typically, high-frequency items are simple in their form, but not necessarily in their meaning. Strategy and autonomy. So, it related to learners' goals, the language learning process, tasks, learner strategies, reflection on the learning. So, for example, the learning strategies that language course, it should consist or contain a deep processing of the language and content. For example, like vocabulary learning cards, word part strategies, mnemonic strategies, predicting, note-taking strategies. So it can apply the mnemonic strategies to know the keyword of a text, and also about the vocabulary learning cards. When we want to have like trying to guessing the meaning of a vocabulary, it would be better if we apply the vocabulary learning cards, like we show a card and try to give like a games to the students to know about the meaning of the word, rather than try to ask the students to memorize the meaning of those words. They can memorize easily, but of course they will forget easily as well. The third, we have spaced retrieval. It consists of like repetition, level of processing theory, small group of items. So it is a learner should have increasingly spaced, repeated opportunities to give attention to wanted items in a variety of contexts. A language system, the language focus, of course, needs to be on generalizable features of the language system. So it is a regular language features, regular creative use of language vocabulary, like high-frequency vocabulary, underlying meaning, and also the word parts. This is a kind of example of vocabulary activities. The structure, frequent structure, discourse, topic type, rhetorical structure, cohesive devices. For example, try to find the word meaning and underlying concept. Example, sweet, sweet taste, sweet music, sweet smile. So it has a different meaning, even they have the same words in this context, but they have a different meaning. Like when talk about sweet taste, it means rasanya manis. But when we talk about the sweet music, it is not musiknya manis, but it can be music yang menarik. Number 5. Keep moving forward. A language course should progressively cover useful language items, skills, and strategies. So explicit, achievable language teaching goals. So the activities or the language course should the teaching goals that should achieve by the students or the learners. So don't give or apply the learning objectives that it's hard and also difficult for the students to achieve. Each learning task has a goal. Apply variety of teaching methods. Try to give and also apply the variety of teaching methods or strategy, because it can help the students to be more motivated. The next one, regular goal directed tests. Number 6, teachability. The teaching of a language item should take account of the most preferable sequencing of these items and should take account of when the learners are most ready to learn them. So a sequence list of structures, arrangement, initial to final, final to initial, internal to final, and final to internal. You can see the table 4.2, order of acquisition. Number 7, we have learning burden. The course should help the learners to make the most effective use of previous knowledge. So in this part, it have to help the learners to make to use their previous knowledge in a speaking and written form. And number 8 is the last part in the first principles, interference. So the items in a language course should be sequenced so that items which are learned together have a positive effect on each other for learning, and so that interference effects are avoided. For example, a strong meaning relationship, it's like opposites, near synonyms, free associates, interfere with each other should they be learned at the time. Well,